All right, let's jump into another deep dive. Today we're tackling a really cool breed, the Xoloitzcuintli, or as some people might know it, the Mexican hairless dog.
Xoloitzcuintli. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a mouthful.
It is, but it's a name with just as much history as the dog itself, and we've got a great excerpt here to break it all down, so I'm ready to learn. What about
Yeah,
you?
absolutely. I think it's so interesting how this breed is connected to ancient Mexican culture.
For sure. Well, let's just start with the most obvious thing, their hairlessness. It's not
Mhm.
something you see every day. Are all Xols hairless, though?
Well, actually, some exos do have a short coat. So if you have allergies but love dogs, a coated Zolo might be perfect for you. But whether they have a coat or not, they come in three sizes: toy, miniature, and standard.
Oh, wow. So there's a solo for everybody. What about those that are hairless? What do they look like?
Hmm. Imagine a dog with really sleek lines, like a greyhound almost. They range in height from about 10 inches to 24 inches at the shoulder, and their skin can be all kinds of colors: dark charcoal, bronze, gray, even reddish. Some even have spots.
Wow, a real range. I bet those almond-shaped eyes and bat-like ears just add to the unique look.
Oh, absolutely. Their posture is always so elegant. They definitely don't look like your average dog.
So we've established they're definitely head turners,
Yeah.
but I have a feeling there's more to them than meets the eye. So let's go back in time. What's their history? How long have Zolos been around?
Get ready for this one. These dogs have been around for over 3,000 years. They were companions to the Aztecs, Toltecs, Maya, really woven into the fabric of their lives.
Wow, that's amazing. They were around for the entire history of these ancient cultures.
Exactly. And their name, Xoloitzcuintli, it reflects that history. It combines Xolotl, the Aztec god of lightning and death, with Itzcuintli, the Aztec word for dog.
Lightning and death. That's a really interesting combination.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about Solotl?
Sure, the Aztecs believed that Xolotl guided souls to the underworld, but he was also associated with transformation and rebirth, so a very complex deity. He represented both the end and the beginning.
I see how that duality would resonate with a breed as unique as the egg solo. Makes you wonder what role they actually played in those ancient societies.
Yeah, they were more than just pets. They were guardians, healers, spiritual companions. They were a really important part of these cultures.
Healers. So there's more to that than just being a warm cuddle buddy.
Oh, for sure. Exolas actually have a higher body temperature than most dogs, probably because they don't have fur. So they were used to soothe aches and pains, and people even believed they had healing powers.
That's amazing. Like a living hot water bottle, but with the spiritual side too. So they were revered, almost sacred, but they almost went extinct. What happened?
Yeah, well, sadly, with colonization came new challenges. European settlers brought their own dogs, and the exo, once so important to Mesoamerican culture, was pushed aside.
I guess what was once considered sacred became different, unfamiliar.
Yeah, exactly. They were marginalized, their numbers dwindled, and as those ancient cultures declined, a lot of the knowledge and tradition around the exo was lost too.
It's a good reminder of how fragile cultural heritage can be. But thankfully, it didn't end there. Those greeters you mentioned stepped in.
Right, they did. They saw the Tazil for what it was. They saw the intelligence, loyalty, and gentle nature. And they knew this wasn't just any dog. It was a living piece of history.
And luckily, their work paid off. The Elo is now officially recognized as Mexico's national dog. That's amazing.
It really is a great comeback story, shows how fascinating these dogs really are.
So we know Elos are striking to look at, and they have this long and fascinating history. But what do they like to be around? What are their personalities like?
Well, they're known for being very loyal and affectionate dogs. They form really close bonds with their owners, and they love companionship. They're basically professional cuddle buddies.
That sounds great. But I'm guessing they're not just tease lap dogs.
Right?
They always seem so alert.
You're right. They are intelligent and alert, which makes them great watchdogs. But don't think that means they're aggressive. They're generally really calm and gentle, though maybe a bit wary of strangers, which makes sense given their history as guardians.
Yeah, I was wondering, with a history like that, is it extra important to socialize them early?
Absolutely. Early and consistent socialization is important for any dog, but especially Exlos. It helps them to be more comfortable in different situations.
I can see why they might need a little extra help navigating the modern world, after being so connected to ancient cultures for so long.
And yet, despite their ancient roots, they adapt well to modern life. They're just as happy in a city apartment as they are in a quiet country home.
So loving, intelligent, A&D adaptable. They sound almost perfect. But let's get practical for a second. I can't help but wonder about their skin. It's so unique. Does it require any special care?
It does, yeah. Think of it like taking care of delicate skin. Their lack of fur makes them much more sensitive to the sun than other dogs.
So walks in the park might require some sunscreen.
Yeah, definitely,
Uh,
especially during those peak sun hours. And regular baths are important too to prevent oil and dirt buildup.
So even though they have less fur, their skin needs just as much attention, maybe even more.
Exactly. It's a unique care routine, but for the right owner, it's a small price to pay for such an amazing companion.
Well, I'm already getting attached to these Xlos. We've talked about their looks, their history, and even their care.
Yeah.
But there's still so much more to discover. Stick with us as we dive deeper into the world of the Xoloitzcuintli.
Welcome back. Ready for more Izzolo talk?
Absolutely. It's not every day you get to learn about a breed with such a deep history and spiritual connection. Speaking of which, I'd love to know more about them as healers. You mentioned their higher body temperature, but what else made them so special?
Well, aside from their warmth, people believed they could actually absorb negative energy, like protect their owners from illness and harm. It's almost like they were seen as four-legged talismans.
Wow. It's incredible how intertwined they were with the spiritual beliefs of these ancient cultures. Makes their connection to Xolotl even more interesting. It's not every day you see a dog linked to a god of both lightning and death.
Yeah, it's a powerful image. But it's important to remember that the Aztecs didn't see death the same way we do today. For them, death was more of a transition, a journey to another realm. And Xolos were believed to be the guides for souls on that journey.
I see. That makes a lot of sense why Xolos were often buried with their owners. It wasn't about mourning, it was about safe passage into the afterlife.
Exactly. That bond between humans and Xolos, it went beyond this life. It's a level of connection that we rarely see anymore.
It makes you wonder if we've lost something special in our relationship with animals.
Yeah.
But I'm getting off track, going back to their near extinction. If they were so revered, why are they almost wiped out?
It's definitely a sad part of their story, but it really shows the impact of colonization. European settlers came with their own beliefs and their own breeds of dogs. And the Gelo, once so central to life in Mesoamerica, was suddenly seen as exotic, even unsettling.
So what was once sacred became different, unfamiliar.
Exactly. They were marginalized, their numbers dwindled, and as those ancient cultures declined, a lot of the knowledge and traditions surrounding the Gelo faded away too.
It's hard to think about, but thankfully, the story doesn't end there. Those breeders you mentioned really saved the day, didn't they?
They did. They really saw the Xolo for what it was. They understood the intelligence, the loyalty, that gentle soul. And they knew this wasn't just a dog. It was a connection to the past.
It's amazing to think their passion helped bring the Exo back from the brink. And now they're making a comeback all over the world.
Yeah, they are. People everywhere are falling in love with the Exio, drawn to those unique looks, their history, and their gentle nature.
It just goes to show that being different can also be incredibly special. So for someone thinking about getting a Xolo, what would you tell them? What makes them unique as companions?
Well, it's important to remember that Azos are sensitive, intuitive dogs. They really thrive on connection and need an owner who understands and respects that unique nature. They're not just pets, they're partners.
So they need a patient and understanding owner, someone willing to put in the time and effort to build that bond.
Absolutely, consistency is key. And early socialization, like we talked about before, is crucial to help them navigate the world confidently. And don't forget about their sensitive skin.
Right, we talked about sunscreen and baths, but are there any other special considerations? Do they need special clothes or anything?
Well, depending on the climate, you might need a sweater or coat for those colder months, but really it's about being in tune with their needs. They communicate in subtle ways, so paying attention to their body language is important.
It sounds like owning a Xolo is almost like a dance, learning to move together in sync. But for the right person, it must be a really rewarding experience.
Oh, it is. Sharing your life with a Zello is like connecting with history, spirituality, and unconditional love. It's truly unique.
I have to admit, I'm starting to get a little Xolo fever myself.
Yeah.
But before I go adopt one, there's one more thing that's been on my mind. That association with death. It's hard to completely forget about it, especially with their name connected to Xolotl, the god of death. How do you reconcile that with the Xolo being such a loving companion?
Yeah, I get it. It's important to remember, though, that those ancient beliefs, while fascinating, are really just cultural interpretations. The Xolo itself isn't some omen of doom.
So no need to worry about my Xolo leading you to the underworld.
Not unless you have plans to visit. No, I think it's about understanding how cultural perspectives change over time. Something once feared or revered can become just different.
So we can appreciate those ancient beliefs without letting them define how we see the Xolo today.
Exactly. The Xolo is a loving, intelligent, and undeniably unique companion. It's time we move past those outdated ideas and embrace them for the incredible dogs they are.
Well said. We've covered a lot of ground here, from the Xolo's past to their resurgence today.
Yeah,
But you mentioned earlier they've also left their mark on art and pop culture. Should we dive into that next?
absolutely. The Exo, with those striking looks and all that symbolic meaning, it's inspired creativity throughout history. There's so much to uncover there.
Sounds like the perfect way to wrap up our solo deep dive. Stick with us, listeners, as we explore how the Xolo has influenced art, literature, and even video games. And we're back for the final part of our Xolo journey. We've gone through their ancient history, explored their amazing personalities, and even busted a few myths. Now we're going to see how the Xolo has captured the imagination of artists, writers, and even video game creators.
It's true. Their influence spans centuries. Let's start by going back to those ancient civilizations. Ozos were so much more than just pets. They were symbols deeply ingrained in art and culture. Look at their pottery, their sculptures, even their ancient books. The codices, olos are everywhere, often representing power, loyalty, even the divine.
It's incredible how much a dog could mean to an entire society.
It really shows that profound connection they had with these animals, and that artistic inspiration didn't stop there. If you look at 20th century Mexican art, you'll find iconic artists like Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera incorporating Xolos into their paintings.
Ah, Frida Kahlo. I can totally see her drawn to the Xolo's unique beauty and that independent spirit.
Exactly. For them, the Yuslo represented this connection to their Mexican heritage, a link to their past, and that resonated with people all over the world.
So the Oslo went from ancient symbol to modern-day muse. How did they end up in literature and pop culture?
Well, they've shown up in some pretty unexpected places. Authors like Jack London and D.H. Lawrence included Yuslos in their stories, and you can find them in films, cartoons, even video games.
Wait, video games. Now I have to know which ones.
There's one adventure game where a hairless dog is actually the main character's guide and protector. It's a pretty big role.
That's so cool. I love that they're getting recognized in modern media, too.
Yeah,
It really shows how the Usolo goes beyond cultural boundaries. It sparks curiosity and creativity everywhere.
for sure. It really speaks to how enduring they are.
Okay, so we know Usolos are historically important, spiritually significant, artistically inspiring, and now even video game stars. But what does it all mean? What can we learn from our Suso deep dive?
It's a good question. I think it challenges us to rethink what we consider normal or beautiful. The Elo, with their hairlessness, makes us look beyond just appearances and appreciate a different kind of beauty.
It's a powerful message, and it goes beyond just dog breeds.
Absolutely. It's about embracing all kinds of diversity, celebrating those things that make us unique, and challenging our own biases.
So the Olo, a furry, or should I say hairless ambassador for open-mindedness.
I like that. I also think their story teaches us about resilience. Remember, this breed almost went extinct, but they came back. That's a great reminder that even when things are tough, hope and passion can win.
It's really inspiring to see how a small group of dedicated people can make a difference, not just for a breed, but for a living piece of history.
Yes. And one last thing, I think the Elo encourages us to think about our connection to the past, to those ancient cultures and beliefs that shaped our world.
Like they're giving us a glimpse into a time when the bond between humans and animals was deeper, more spiritual.
Maybe by understanding and appreciating the Eslo, we can find a bit of that lost connection in ourselves.
I love that thought. Well, I think we've done it. We explored the Xoloitzcuintli from ancient origins to modern-day revival.
It's been great taking this journey with you.
And to our listeners, if you're looking for a companion that's more than just a pet, a dog that embodies history, loyalty, and a touch of magic.
Think about opening your heart and home to a Xoloitzcuintli.
And even if you're not ready to bring a hairless friend home just yet, I hope this deep dive has left you with a newfound appreciation for this amazing ancient breed. Thanks for joining us.